What is up, everybody? I am Chris. Welcome to our autumn reading here, right? So, just yesterday was the autumn equinox, right? A time of year when, first of all, light and dark are evenly balanced, right? But where darkness is encroaching, where we've had this summer of light, of power, of strength, of illumination, and now we're moving into a slower time of year. Things are slowing down. They're getting colder, right? The weather's changing. It's a time for really going within and reflecting, spending time with our family, right? It's a time of harvest. It's a time of abundance. It's a time for us to really like process everything we've been through this fucking insane summer of retrogrades and eclipses, right? And now we're getting ready for what's to come next. We're celebrating where we've been. We're processing everything that's been going on, and then we're really preparing for what comes next, right? So guys, in the spirit of the season, in the spirit of prosperity, right? Because that's what we're focusing on here right now. Just for today only, we're gonna go from being the house of light and shadow to the house of abundance. Are you guys ready? Let's do this. All right, guys, once again, I am Chris. Welcome to our autumn forecast. So here's the way this is gonna go down. We're gonna do a general group reading, just talking about what we can expect, what advice the cards have for us going into this autumn, right? And then what we'll do is we'll do card pulls for each of the signs, and below in the description I will go ahead and put timestamps, so you can go ahead and check out, you can just jump around and check out your signs. I highly encourage checking out, of course, your sun sign, but also your rising sign especially will be important. If you want to go deeper, we can go into moon and Venus signs and all that, but at the very least, I encourage you to check out what's going on for your sun and rising, right? So the description, the timestamps will be below. If you want to hit me up for a personal reading, that link will be there as well as Instagram and the information about the cards I'm going to be using today, right? All right, guys, so like I said, autumn, time of harvest, time of going within, right? What do we have during the autumn season? We have 3 signs that we deal with, right? We have Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. And it's a perfect oops. So let me just fix my mic. It's a perfect time to really, sorry about that. My whole microphone setup just like literally fell apart. Technical difficulties there, right? But like I was saying, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, right? Libra, we have justice. We have reaping of what we've sown. And I think for a lot of us, especially post-eclipse season, a lot of that's going to be internal, right? And that leads into Scorpio, right? Transformation, a new sense of identity, right? Right after this recording, I'm recording this on the equinox, and we have a full moon in Aries coming up. And that full moon is really going to help us really process a lot of the things that we've gone through this summer, right? Really stand strong in our individuality and our sense of self, right? And then we transform and we let go in Scorpio season, right? We get rid of all the shit that doesn't serve us anymore. And then Sagittarius season, we look towards the future. Perfect summary of what this fall season is all about, right? Reaping what we've sown, letting go of what doesn't work anymore, and then looking towards the future with optimism and hope, right? So let's see what the cards have for us in a general sense for the overview of the autumn. 8 of Pentacles. Surprise, surprise, right? We went through Virgo season, right, where we did a lot of work. And we wanted to pull ourselves together, right? Some of us, even if we didn't do that much work in terms of like, I still think the point is that we're processing what's happened, right? We're still doing the work, even though we're in Libra season, which is associated with partnerships, with balance, with harmony, with gathering things, right? We've been doing a lot of work here. We've been investing in ourselves. We've been building. We've been growing. And I think that applies to all of us, right? This is the work that we've been doing. And now with the Eight of Pentacles, what it's time to do is find more meaning in that work, right? To not just have, that's what I meant with the Virgo season. It's like, it's one thing to say just like working and hustling, right? It's another thing to find meaning in that work. It's another thing to find purpose in what we're doing, right? And I think that's what we're starting off with in the fall. We have a deeper sense of meaning. Like, what am I saying here? Justice, right? This is where we're starting off. Libra season, hey, reaping what you've sown much. Like, the cards just mirrored exactly what we've been talking about here. It's about all the efforts we've been making. Now we're moving forward. Now we're pushing forward. Now we are you know, in a place where we're going to start seeing the payoffs of everything that we've been doing. And again, I think for a lot of us, that is going to be internal work, right? Which is hard to see on the outside. You know, Eight of Pentacles, this is more like labor card, right? More of those kind of energies. But sometimes we take for granted all the internal work we're doing and how that kind of internal work translates and conveys into like the outside material world. And so right now, this is a surefire sign here, guys, that everything that's been happening is going to be moving us forward. Justice is fate. Justice is fairness. It's balance. It's Libra season, right? So rest assured, and I want to say that word too, rest, right? Libra season, we do want to take a rest, right? We do want to have fun again. We do want to socialize. We do want to enjoy all the work we've been doing, right? We do want to take a step back and just find that pleasure and passion in life and see things in a different perspective and see where we're going from that new perspective, from the place where we've, you know, hustled and hurt, right? And now we're going to move forward into a time of, you know, not just reaping what we've sown, but also consideration of what we've sown, right? With justice, it's almost like those scales are full of things, and now we're kind of going through this process of picking out the things that work, getting rid of the things that don't. Because that's what really fuels growth, right? It's not just harvesting, it's also, you know, cutting away. The Seeker, it's cutting away, it's getting rid of the stuff, that it's clearing out the field so that from the next so we can start planting seeds again, right? And this is what leads me to the Seeker. The Seeker here is all about our bigger journey, our life purpose. It's about facing that void, right? When this comes up in readings for me, I think of this as an opportunity to fill the space that we've now created in our lives by getting rid of the stuff that no longer suits us, right? And this is a surefire sign of optimism. It makes me feel like we're not scared to face the darkness, right? We're going to the darkness like wiser and more woke and more put together than we've been in a long time. So rest assured, guys, if this has been a trying summer for all of us, that there's some reprieve coming. There's some relaxation coming. There's an ability to or energy that's going to allow us to really look at the bigger picture and take into account where we're going from here, right? So this is the work that we're doing now. This is the work that we're doing in this autumn is really planning for what comes next. Resting, letting ourselves marinate and process what's happened, but looking towards what's next with optimism, with faith, with you know, almost divine guidance here, right? With the sense of beauty. This is a very Libra energy too. I know it's Aquarius, but in the sense of like beauty and grace and connection, right? So we're gonna find ourselves in this autumn really dreaming a lot, really like taking the next steps, like looking at our ideals, recognizing that like where we've come from is like kind of not good enough anymore, and the things that we've got accustomed to, the bad habits, the toxic relationships, like being used to being in relationships where people take advantage of you, or being used to you know, your work not really paying off, and we get into this place where we just become like kind of complacent, and now we're getting shaken out of that, right? Bottom of the deck, Four of Swords, like a complacency a little bit, a sense of just getting used to the way that things are, and now we're saying that that's not enough, and now we're looking towards what's going to be better. Where in 2019 am I going to end up? Where do I want to end up? Right now is the time for planning. Now is the time for doing that soul searching and really getting deep with what you want and who you are. And more importantly than who you are with this, I'm looking at, it's like who you've become. We get so stuck in these ideas of, you know, we're doing this work and we're doing this work and we're doing this work, and we just kind of take for granted sometimes that it becomes going through the motions, and we don't stop enough to question what we're doing anymore, or question if this stuff has a place in our lives anymore, if these relationships have a place, if this job still has a place, if our living situation still makes sense, right? And now's the time to think big, to go idealistic, to let go of everything that's happened before, to let go of, again, I want to say, who we've been before, and embrace what the future has for us. Because already with the star coming up there, it's like the future is bright. The future is everything we want it to be. The future is whatever we can make of it, right? Even though we're here at Justice, where we're kind of reaping the rewards, it's like the work isn't done. It's just a stop on the road, right? It's a pause. It's a place where we can reflect. All right, let's do one more card for the general, and then I want to jump into the forecast for the rest of the signs for the rest of the fall. I mean, look, and then we have finishing up with the Ace of Wands. So what was I saying about passion, new opportunities, new abilities to be, have what we want? Like, this combination of cards here is so idyllic. It's so optimistic, right? So right now, guys, if you have problem being optimistic, I would say, you know, take a step back, go within, like really reflect on what you want, and don't be afraid to say the truth, to speak the truth to yourself, even if the truth sometimes feels hurtful, right? Sometimes it's hurtful to admit that, you know, that friendship isn't working. It's sometimes hurtful to admit that, like, you know, we feel a sense of loyalty to the place we work or the people we work with, but then it's the reality of it is it's not cutting it for us anymore, right? Optimism, faith, trust, and the passion, right? This is it sounds ironic when the time of the year it gets darker to get passionate, but this is a time to get passionate. This is a time to get connected. This is a time to, you know, with Venus going retrograde in Scorpio, we're really looking for meaning in things, right? We're really reflecting on, you know, what gives us power and what doesn't, what takes away from us and what fuels us. And right now, guys, the focus has to be for all of us on what fuels us, on what makes us feel alive, and what makes us feel connected. Like, it's a perfect time, what I was saying before with Libra season, kicking it off, like, to connect with people. Same thing with Scorpio. It's a very connective, intimate energy. And I think for a lot of us, really, that's going to be what, you know, my friend jokes about how this is cuffing season. Like, people want to get in relationships. People are, like, looking for the significant other, right? Connect with people. Get intimate with people, open up to people, rekindle relationships with family, rekindle relationships with friends that you haven't seen in a while, right? This is the season to get your shit together and to light the fire under the ass that's going to carry us through the winter and into what is coming for us ahead, right? All right, guys, so I think this part of the reading is done, and now we're going to jump into the individual signs. So if you want to just go ahead and jump ahead in the timestamps, you go ahead and do so. I'm going to be starting with, because it is Libra season, we're going to be starting with the Libras and then move through the rest of the signs so we end up at Virgo, okay? So let's go ahead and see what Libra has to look forward to this fall. This reading is for Libra for the fall. I mean, I think Libra already, I can tell you guys, it's going to be fucking dope as fuck. I think that things are coming around for you. I think that, you know, you've been struggling a little bit, right? Emotionally, like wanting connection, wanting purpose, wanting to move forward. And, you know, Venus being your ruling planet going to Scorpio is actually going to do beautiful things, right? It's going to bring you closer to your connections. Let's start off by looking at what energies Libra is coming into the fall with. And then we'll pull like 3 cards to go like kind of an overview of the fall, and then see where we're going to end up at the end of the fall going into winter, right? All right, so Libra, let's take a look here where we're starting off this fall at for you beautiful, shining examples of human beings. Dark moon. So interesting, huh? I think that what this is saying is that Libra has kind of been going through it, like I was saying, right? It's been tough for you guys. It's been not really sure of. I think there's a lot of uncertainty here with the dark moon, right? A lot of introspection, a lot of really trying to figure out what you want, trying to figure out who you are more than anything, right? I think that there might have been a lot of situations that have been taking place for you guys that that has kind of shaken your foundation in certain ways, right? All of us with eclipse season, but I think it's leaving you in a place where there's a lot of soul searching that needs to happen, right? There's a lot of integration of the lessons that you've learned. There's a lot of what I see here also though is like I said with the secret card in the beginning, that void to be filled, that place where now you have this whole world in front of you and you can really decide what you want and who you want to be, right? I do think that it's a good time for you guys also to look towards connections and relationships, right? I think that in this darkness, I feel like a need for connection and compassion and partnership, right? And I think that's gonna suit you guys really well. So even if you're having a hard time in your love life, like now is the time to be more connected to family and friends, right? Now is the time to be I don't think this is like solitary energy. I really think that this is let's see where you're going. I really think that this is a chance for you to find what suits you, find what makes you feel good, right? Because right up the first card we have is the Three of Pentacles. It's creative expression. This is about who you are and what you are all about, like showing up in the world and manifesting in a way that you can see, in a way that's tangible and palpable, right? So I think that what's happening here, remember like exactly what I was saying before about how this sort of void that you've been experiencing is now leading the way towards creation. And now you have this opportunity to kind of decide what you want your life to be like, who you want to be, like where you want things to go for you from here. And it's like the universe is almost like you got this energy on your side, I feel like, to really just express that. And again, the Three of Pentacles, what have I been saying to you guys about connection and collaboration, right? This is a card of working together. This is a card of the power of many people coming together, right? So especially if you're a creative person, I think that this is a great time to really hunker down in your arts and not just to do art, but like put it out there. No matter if you're not a creative person, it doesn't matter. I think this is about putting yourself out there. This is about connecting with people. This is about socializing, right? So the beginning of the fall, the energies are really encouraging you guys, Libra, to connect, to put yourself out there, to be yourself. I think this is like getting dressed up and looking your best and from the next card that came out, it's funny, looking your best and just like showing off a little bit, right? Like showing off how good you feel. And if you don't feel great, like about making your world beautiful, making your surroundings beautiful, making like your outer appearance beautiful, so that like it kind of transform your inner sense of self, right? And then next up we have the Four of Pentacles. So there's this increase, this sense of movement, right? And I think what's going to happen is like into the fall, you guys are going to feel this greater sense of security, and you are going to feel grounded. You're going to feel rooted. You're going to feel more okay maybe than you have in a long time. Normally the Four of Pentacles comes with this kind of warning about not to get too stuck or not to hold on to security too much, but I think coming from here to here, I absolutely encourage Libra to just enjoy the security that's coming your way, to indulge in whatever positivity comes your way. If you've been wanting a man and one comes your way now, like fucking be a homebody and sit at home and curl up on the couch and watch movies, like that's fine. Do that thing, right? If your money situation is improving, which it looks like it's going to from here, right? It looks like Libra is definitely putting themselves out in the world in a way that's going to end up being rewarding, right? And that's going to make you feel better. So far, what I'm seeing so far for you guys is just this greater sense of security, this movement towards towards happiness, right? Towards balance is what I feel with this four. That's why I said I don't feel like there's that many caveats coming here for Libra, because to me this feels like balance. This feels like you know, stability. This feels like a lot of real movement. I feel like you guys are going to have like this new gusto for life. I think things are really going to transform. I think you're going to want to be part of the world in a way that you maybe haven't been for a while, right? And in a bigger way. Like, it's not just, like I said, getting all dressed up and being cute and going out. There's like travel. There's like times with family. There's like that kind of like real meaningful, passionate thing that gets you excited about life and makes you feel invigorated and energized and super ready to just tackle the fall. And then look, we have the Page of Wands. Perfect ending for what we're talking about getting into Sag season, right? That's what I see here, right? Libra season, like expressing yourself, getting out there, being your most beautiful, sexy, inspiring, lovable self. Scorpio season, when it gets dark and intimate and deep, then you can just wallow in the happiness. You can kind of wallow in the security. You can be a homebody. You can just enjoy the life that you've created for yourself, right? And then wrapping it up in Sag season, we have this burst of energy. We have this optimism with the Page of Wands, right? We have this gusto for life, this zest for experience, this you know, there's a trajectory here that I'm seeing of going from this very heavy, dark place to starting to put yourself out into the world in a way where things start to happen and you start to feel better. And then by the end of the fall, we're looking at you guys being in a place of increased passion, right? Of increased love. You guys might even end up with a fire sign motherfucker here, right? Which is great. Great for Libra, right? The Page of Wands, though, is also telling me about like looking to the future. It's about opportunities, right? We started off the readings with the Ace of Wands at the end, and now we have the Page of Wands, which I think is like taking control of the opportunities that come your way. I think that going into the new year, guys, you're going to be in a really solid place where you're going to feel, it's not like your whole life is going to look completely different, but you're just going to feel like elevated, like you're on a new level, or where things are happening that are setting the wheels in motion for even greater things to happen, right? There's like the sense of momentum here. That's what I like about this. That's what I would say. There's a momentum that's happening. And then at the end of the fall, we have strength, right? And this is Libra feeling secure. This is Libra feeling grounded. This is you guys kind of coming out of this place of darkness where we started, right? And now moving into this place where you're in control, where you, the lessons and all the hardships that you've been through now have a new perspective, now have a new meaning. They take on new meaning for you, right? And if you guys have been feeling like low energy, if you've been feeling a little weak or overwhelmed by the way life has been going for you, I think that what this spread is showing here, and let me see if I can point it down so you can see it. I think what this spread is showing is like this trajectory from like isolation and loneliness and a sense of unhappiness to getting yourself out there and being creative, and this like movement. It's like this surge, what I'm seeing, like this surge of energy here, right? It's almost as if like a volcano, and then there's this eruption and this lava and all this heat and passion, and then it solidifies into something strong and real, where now you're going into 2019. You probably see my messy room too. I probably shouldn't have pointed that down. You kind of going into 2019 feeling powerful, right? So if you don't feel that way right now, Libra, trust that what's going to happen over this fall is going to bring you into a place where you don't feel weak anymore. You don't feel at the like a victim. You don't feel like at the whim of life. You don't feel like a victim of circumstance, because things are going to become more solid, and things are going to become more passionate, and you're going to be connected to people, and you're going to feel energized, right? So Libra, I think I'm going to leave you there. Let's look at the bottom of the deck, Five of Wands, right? So underneath it all, what is the point? Like, do you see the difference? We're going from struggle here. We're going from differences. We're going from feelings of disconnection, right? And now this is fueling you guys to like kind of get it together and get connected to people and get connected to your passions and really it's like you've had all this energy here like dispersed, and now you're kind of like pulling it into you, where it's like before it was weak and like all over the place, and now it's like strong, right? It's solid. It's feeling compact. It's feeling like you have like resources now to go forward and do what you want, because for a long time it's felt like this. It's felt like struggle. It's felt like hardships. It's felt like difficulty connecting to people, right? All right, Libra, so that's that. And I'm going to move on now to Scorpio. I'll do a quick reshuffle for Scorpio. All right, Scorpio, let's see what we have in store for Scorpio for this fall. Where is Scorpio starting off coming to the fall with? All right. Hierophant. Okay, cool. So this is an interesting place to come into the autumn with. This is obviously a card of teachers, of wisdom, you know, I think that what I'm seeing here with the Hierophant for you guys is a sense of connection to something greater, right? I think what's transpired over the past few months has really brought you in touch with like who you are, with what you want, with almost, it's just like with the Hierophant, it's like you're getting a download from the universe, right? Like you've been getting these downloads of what's right for you, what's not, like who you want to be, what identity you have right now at this time in your life, right? I think it's a lot about feeling like graduating in a way, this card to me, to a new stage of life, to a new, a greater sense of purpose, a greater sense of meaning and what is meaningful to you, and being very tapped in, right? Almost feeling like you're connected to a higher source, connected to like your fate, to your path. It's like there's almost this wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And with the Hierophant, it's about experience, right? It's about legacies, it's about traditions. And I think that you guys have been coming to a place where now you feel more comfortable within yourselves. You feel more comfortable with like where you are in your life. And it's like any hardships that have come before have only brought you into a place of greater understanding and greater wisdom, right? That's what I feel like with this overall. It's wisdom with Scorpio. It's like everything that you've been through is now paying off in a real personal way, in a way that is, like I said, elevated. It's moving you forward. It's taking you to the next level in life, right? So we're starting off here with the Ten of Pentacles going into autumn, right? Beautiful sign here, guys. This is about like home. This is about security. With these two cards together, I feel like Scorpio is feeling like a real sense of comfort and a real sense of growth in your especially in your material world, right? Because the Hierophant does represent Taurus, which is all about like possessions and material comforts. So I do think that right now, Scorpio, you're going to see like the beginning of the autumn be very comfortable for you, right? Whether, even if you have financial struggles, right? The Ten of Pentacles represents home. It represents security and comfort, right? So there is a sense here of things starting off on a really solid place and really level place for you guys. Like it feels like happiness. It feels like connection to family. It feels like you guys are really going into your season, I think, like fired up and prepared. And it's like this Ten of Pentacles with the Hierophant is like experience and a foundation that really is going to propel you forward in the time to come. I think that you guys I want to say again, there's a sense of leveling up. It's like you hit this place and now you're like, okay, how can we go even higher? How can we go even further? How can I have more love in my life? How can I be making more money? How can I be having more fun with my friends, right? It feels like a sense of balance here too. So if you've been working, it's gonna balance out in that way of Libra season, right? Where you're gonna maybe be more social. If you've been very social, now's the time to like hunker down and like invest in your material well-being. So far there's a lot of I just did Libra, and there's a lot of pentacles coming up for this autumn, right? So, and when I said house of abundance, when I said this is the time of harvest and connections, like this is exactly what I meant. The Six of Pentacles is now a card of charity, of giving, of give and take energies, right? I think that what this is saying is that you guys are going to have a really strong sense coming into your season of what is serving you and what isn't, and it's not going to feel as much like where you might have felt before, like people were taking and taking and taking. It's like you've learned a lot of lessons. You've learned about boundaries. You've learned about self-respect, and you've learned about making sure that you are secure and that like what you feel to be true is true. And now it leaves you in this place where there's now like this stability and balance and joy and prosperity. Right, so far, Scorpio, it's looking like a very prosperous autumn for you, right? I think that emotionally too, even though this is a card of the material world, emotionally it feels like you're stable, right? It doesn't, like, you guys are a sign that is very loyal and likes to give to people, right? But in a way, like the Six of Pentacles energy, you do expect to be given back. And it's not like you give with the expectation of getting, but it's like a very simple like idea and philosophy about life and human dynamics, you know? And I just think that you're going to be feeling good about who's around you. You're going to feel good about what you're doing, right? You're going to feel, it's almost like everything has a place, and everything in your life right now is nothing but productive and pushing you forward and nourishing is what I want to feel. There's a sense of nourishment that particularly to me comes in the form of other people and how you interact with them. But and then we got Ace of Wands. So far, guys, like very, very positive here. Very much like starting with the Hierophant. You see how it's almost like you've come out of this place of hardship, of trial, of study and trying to figure out who you are and where you belong and what things fit into how things fit into your life. And then we're wrapping up the fall with the Ace of Wands, which is just passion and opportunity, and I feel like there's this like stability. Again, the sense of leveling up here is tremendous, where there's this sense of stability, there's this sense of progress, it's this sense of I'm where I'm supposed to be. Now what? Now where do we go from here, right? Where does all this hard work I've been doing, where does all this positivity that I have in my life, like where am I going with that now? And it could be scary, but I think you guys are a sign that's used to looking into the darkness and experiencing the void and really pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and saying like, and facing the hard things, right? So let's see where you guys end up at the end of the fall. King of Pentacles. Just such a energy of manifestation here with these cards, right? Such an energy of again, I'm going to use this word for like the 5th time during this short little reading, leveling up, of having your house in order, of having your money in order, of really being a provider now, right? Of being a source of comfort and stability for other people. It's like you have your shit so together by the end of the autumn, Scorpio, that now other people might be looking to you for guidance and advice, right? And then again, overall, there's this just tremendous amount of earth energy here, this tremendous amount of grounding, right? That's my sense here, is like this autumn is going to be very grounding. There's going to be very little I see in terms of the bigger picture for you guys, in terms of major setbacks, right? In terms of people taking your energy from you, in terms of feeling directionless, right? I do think that there's a really beautiful arc here of just feeling so centered and so secure and so balanced and so in touch with who you are and what you want and where you're going, that by the end of the autumn going into the new year, we're really going to see Scorpio like optimistic and really living their best life, and going into the autumn like just feeling so like generous, feeling so secure, feeling so stable, feeling so able to give. Like I could see a lot of you guys being the ones who are hosting a lot of family get-togethers this holiday season, right? Because it's just this energy of wanting to create this atmosphere of love and support and care and love and nourishing. I said love already, but you know what I mean? All right, Scorpio. I think that's a really like good outlook for you guys coming up here. And now we're gonna just go ahead and jump into Sagittarius, right? So let's see what Sagittarius has to look forward to in this autumn. Sagittarius for autumn. All right, so where's Sagittarius coming into the autumn? Oh yeah, Sagittarius. Starting off coming into this autumn season with the Nine of Swords, obviously a sense of lots of worry, a lot of concerns. It's almost as if like you've been very mentally and emotionally burdened by a lot, and it's taken a toll on you a little bit. I think that there's a sense of I almost want to say directionlessness with this card, right? Like compared to the other signs I just did, it really looks like with the Nine of Swords, we're talking about grief, worry, anxiety. That's the word I'm looking for, anxiety, right? There's just been a lot of uncertainty. And it might not have thrown you completely off, but I think in your head, maybe you're feeling a little crazy, a little all over the place, a little like unsure of even if you're in like a positive place in your life, just a little like unsure about where things are going, unsure about what you want, unsure about, right at the bottom we have your card here, right? Unsure about what you want, unsure about, that's the word, uncertainty, anxiety. Which makes sense because there's a lot of changes that happened this summer, right? But now is the time where I think, and we'll see what cards come up here, but where those anxieties are going to be kind of cooled down, right? Where no matter what, like there's going to be directions, right? There's going to be a direction that's gone, and there's going to be taking these 9 swords and whittling it down to something more useful and practical, and something where you can actually take steps forward and look and kind of experience, use your experience and use going through something right now to what am I trying to say? Let me rephrase that. There's a shift here from all this energy going into your head to this energy actually playing out in real life, right? So if you've been unsure about a lot of options you might have, what I mean is like seeing you go through those options and actually through living it, through experiencing it, figuring out what works for you and what doesn't, and who you want to be and where you want to go, right? So we're starting off though with the sense of optimism with the Ace of Wands. This is now the 3rd time that the Ace of Wands has popped up so far in these readings. And the Ace of Wands is just passion, it's vigor. This is sort of what I was getting at with that. It's almost like I'm seeing right now, like just grabbing a hold of one thing, grabbing a hold of the thing that's most interesting to you, the most passionate, the thing that has been on your mind the most, and just taking chances and risks and going for it, right? That's what I see in, like, let's say this is like Libra season, right? Going into the fall, really ready to like act, really ready to like put yourself out there, really ready to seize the moment, kind of this carpe diem kind of energy, right? Where it's almost like you're tired of the anxiety, you're tired of overthinking, you're tired of the grief and the stress and the worry, right? And now you're just like having this kind of fuck it attitude where you're just gonna do you, and you're gonna do you, like, and it's gonna be so dope because like you're fire, and you're like, this is your energy, this is your element. And I think you're gonna find it really comfortable. I think with this Libra season, you're gonna feel like more of your best self, right? Like more of the self who wants to go out and meet people and is charming and is magnetic and is fiery and is passionate, like that Sag thing that just like attracts people to you, right? And then going into Scorpio season, it gets a little heavier again, right? So now we have another 9 where again, I think that the ideas of what's in your head, the mental stress and stuff like that kind of takes a toll. 9 of Wands is about yes, protection and guardedness, but it can also be about paranoia. It can also be about fear, is what I feel here, right? So there's this like gusto, this energized sense of like, let's go, let's do this, let's move forward, let's make it happen. And then now there's like something that happens to you in, like, say Scorpio season where you kind of feel like pulling back. This could be that, some of these risks that you take maybe didn't work out, right? Or they worked out, but maybe you got a little knocked up in the process. excuse me, got a little knocked around in the process, and now you're kind of like having to recover is what I feel like with this card, right? So mid-fall, I feel like this fiery energy now is going to get pulled back a little bit in Scorpio season, where you're going to want to like relax. You're going to want to like maybe take a break from all that like extraness that you went into the season with, right? Because like look at how quickly we go from the Ace of Wands, 1 wand, to all of a sudden we have 9. And I feel like this real sense of overwhelming again, right? Like you guys had this like overwhelming feeling in your head, and then you kind of like try to get outside of your head, and now maybe you've gone a little too far, maybe you've taken on too much, and maybe now you're getting some pushback, where you're starting to feel the weight of all the stuff that you've done. But what this is saying to me is like the things that you do, the risks that you take, the ways you put yourself out there are going to like pay off, right? They are going to manifest. You are going to create something, right? But I do think that coming into like November-ish is going to be a time where you want to like start paring back, right? Where you want to start relaxing a little bit, right? Resting, like letting yourself chill out is what I want to say, right? Like there's a need to chill here. We have, okay, so now this is the third 9 we have in this reading, right? The 9 of Cups. So with all these 9s, guys, it's like you feel on the edge of glory. You feel like you're just about to make it to the end, but there's still a sense here with how many 9s there are of not quite feeling like you're making it over the hill yet, right? Like you're getting there, you're getting closer, you know where you're headed, but you're not there yet. The good thing is with the 9 of Cups, rounding out the end of the autumn and into like, let's say roughly your season, right, in November, December, there's going to be a shift, right, where here maybe it was feeling overwhelming in Scorpio season, and now things become a little easier. Now all this stuff that felt like too much maybe like gets settled down, and now you're starting to reap the rewards of what you want. You're gonna go into the new year, I want to say into the winter, then subsequently 2019, getting more of what you want, and feeling like there's this huge shift here, right, from the 9 of Swords to the 9 of Cups, where anxiety and worry, and then this defensiveness and this like sense of hardship, and then all of a sudden now you're getting the things you want. Now all of a sudden like things are clicking into place a little more readily. I think that by the end of the autumn, you really are going to be harvesting. You really are going to be finding your place, is what I feel like with the 9 of Cups, right? Like almost in a way where you're going to be a little surprised, I want to say, by how good things feel, right? By how comfortable your relationships are, with how stable your living and work situations become, right? So there's a good sense here, Sagittarius. I will pull one card to see where you end the autumn, but there's a good sense here, Sagittarius doing a lot of work, right? A Sagittarius doing the internal and external work to find your place and to find out what you want, and to like by trial and fire, right? To go through it and to come out of it on the other end like just at peace, more at peace with yourself, more feeling a sense of like you deserve where you, beautiful, right? Beautiful way to end it. That you deserve like how far you've come, right? The struggle has paid off. Your emotions with the Ace of Cups feel stable, right? This could mean that a lot of you get the romance that you've been wanting, right? With these 2 cups side by side, I really think that this is a good omen for anyone looking to be in a relationship, that the relationship that the relationship that you've been wanting, that feels this good, that feels Ace of Cups good, where you feel stable and secure, and you're not like put in this place where you're constantly worrying and nervous and all that stuff, right? I think some of you might be even getting pregnant by the end of this season, if that's something you're looking for, right? And some of you will be finding new love, or a new sense of love, or a new welling of emotion. Again, this goes back to connection, right? Of receiving and giving love and feeling. And I think that going into the holiday season especially, you guys are going to feel super invigorated, and you're going to love the time you're spending with family, and you're going to maybe, you know, be bringing that new boyfriend or girlfriend home to meet your family or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just that feeling of celebration and love and happiness and connection and emotional prosperity, emotional wealth. So I think the one thing I will say as we wrap up for you guys, bottom of the deck, the Seeker, right? What did I say about doing the work, about really being willing to put yourself out there, about trying, about going through, using actions to kind of figure out what's right for you, right? The Seeker is not an armchair spiritual person who just sits there reading books and tries to figure it out. He's actually out in the world, using his head, using his experience, putting himself out there to find what he wants. And this is what's happening for you guys. So it's going to be a little tumultuous at times. I think there are going to feel like a lot of ups and downs, but I think by the time we come to the winter, going into the end of your season, around your birthdays, you're going to really start to feel like happy again. I think Sag is going to be moving into a really good place, and I think for most of you guys, a place of solid relationships, and a place of solid love, and a sense of, and I think this is usually, I want to interpret this in a broader sense, like love, connection to family, stuff like that, to what your passions, what you're doing. But I really feel like for a lot of you guys, this is going to be romantic. Yeah. All right, Sag. Well, let's go ahead and move forward. We're going to go ahead and reshuffle and read now for Capricorn. Capricorn's going to be fun. Capricorn, let's see what's going on for you guys this autumn. Capricorn, I think, is looking forward to, oh, I just feel like going into your season, guys, you're just ready. You're ready to push forward. You're ready to take your life to the next level. I think that big things are going to be happening for you guys. I think you're going to feel like real milestones might be happening this month, right? Or these next few months, right? All right, let's see Capricorn. Where are we starting with Capricorn going into the fall season? Three of Cups. What did I say? Capricorn is going to be fun, right? Capricorn is finding reasons to celebrate this autumn. Capricorn is feeling, you know, happy sense of life, a festive sense of life, right? How perfect that this is the card of like pumpkin. It's a card of harvest and abundance and festivities and feasting and, you know, being around people. So I think that starting off this autumn, guys, you're going to be feeling kind of jovial. I think you're going to be feeling very like even if you're not like partying, it's like a celebration of life, of a celebration of like of where life is going. You're going to feel optimistic. You're going to feel really happy. You're going to feel like what's happened over the past few months. I think so far you're one of the first signs that is like shifting in a more material way from, you know, the work that you've been doing. Now you're reaping those rewards, right? Almost in a material level where your life itself, like your relationships, your job, all that stuff is going to start looking really good for you. And I think so, really happy spirit for Capricorn starting off this autumn, right? I think that a lot of you guys are going to be spending time with family. I think a lot of you guys are going to be having fun, spending time with friends, right? Spending time with your lover or whatever it might be. There's just such a strong sense here of like joie de vivre, if I'm saying that right, like the joy of life, like just the passion for everything life is and what it has to offer you. So yeah, okay, you see, starting off celebration, right? Four of Wands, home and connection to family, and what did I say about like milestones, about enjoying how far you've come. This is, look, like, is it a coincidence that when I was shuffling the cards, I was like, I think Capricorn is going to be having fun? And then when we got the Three of Cups and the Four of Wands, like cards of celebration and joyousness and reasons to celebrate and be happy, and like life is moving forward. I'm really encouraged by it. You know, Capricorn gets this reputation sometimes for being like cold and disconnected, and I can see that sometimes and why people would think that, but you're actually a sign that really feels like gusto for life and feels like you know, like when a Capricorn is feeling this kind of happiness, it's real shit, you know what I mean? It's not like you guys are just hyping yourself up. It's because like, and I think you can enjoy this because you know you've earned it and you've worked for it, right? And now you know when it's coming into your life that it's real. Some of you might be getting into like really commitments this beginning of the fall, right? Relationships turning more serious. Maybe even some marriages for some of you, right? Four of Wands is a card that's sometimes associated with marriage. But whatever it is, guys, I think you're in a real celebratory mood. You guys might be partying. You guys might be festive. You guys might just at least be so happy and optimistic about where things are going. Two of Wands, the future. You guys are looking to the future. You guys are looking towards what comes next. When I started off saying milestones, these are all milestones. This is like, you know, when you're going into your season, guys, I think you're going to start off the new year just like in such a solid place, in such a different place, I think, than where you've been, where you do feel, again, I'm going to use the word optimistic, where you do feel festive, you do feel like celebrating, you feel like, you know, life has been really good to you. And life has been really good to your loved ones. And your eyes are on the future. Your eyes are on future happiness. It's almost like Capricorn can't even like really enjoy it that much because like you guys are having the good times and things are happening for you, but then like you're still like planning, right? you're still just planning what's next, right? But for now, like you do that, like that's how you are. You gotta plan, you gotta look at what's next, you gotta prepare yourself, right? But I will encourage you guys to just relax and have a little fun and to let yourself be pampered a little bit, to let yourself self-pamper, right? To treat yourself a little bit right now, to all the great things that you have coming for you. And then you have the Two of Pentacles ending at the center. So we have two pentacles, I mean two twos here, right? So what I'm thinking here is that I think there's obviously a connection here where part of what is happening for you going forward is a balancing of life, right? Where you're going to be connected to people, where I think that the Two of Pentacles to me is a card of connection and intertwined energies. So you're going to feel stable and supported going into your season, end of fall, by, you know, if you're in a relationship, by your partner, right? You're going to feel like this sense of, this is also a card of multitasking, of taking on multiple things. And I think you guys are going to be really ready to, you know, enjoy. This is that segue between enjoying what has come and like being really ready for what comes next. I think that you're going to find a new sense of balance and stability, right? Not that you don't have that, but where like you now feel once again ready to take life to the next level, to step it up, to almost take on more for yourself is what I feel like with this card, right? I feel like you're just so ambitious going into the fall. I mean, into the winter, right? So ambitious, so not complacent, so fired up to really start doing bigger and better things, right? Oh, I feel like such a sense of companionship here too with these two cards here. I think that if you are, all of this is companionship, guys. I think that some of you are either going to take existing relationships to the next level or be in new ones. Because there's just all this sense of connection here, this sense of duality, this sense of grounding within your relationship dynamics, right? And then we end the fall. What did I say just a moment ago? Ambition. Like, that's the name of the game for Capricorn going into your season, right? At the end of fall, it's ambition. It's about possibilities. It's about being fired up. It's almost as if, like, these accomplishments, like, you're not resting on your laurels, right? Everything that's been happening, all this sense of stability, all this sense of being able to juggle all these things for yourself. And I think these are all, we're all looking at minors here, so I do think that these are going to come up in your life in very, like, mundane, practical ways, right? Everyday kind of ways, and in terms of job, career, home, you know, the trappings of your life, right? And then we're ending the Sag season, we're ending this fall going into the new year just like really fired up, like with business plans. It's like, what's that thing where Beyonce says, in that song Girls Who Run the World, she's like, strong enough to bear the children, then get back to business. That's what I'm feeling like here. Like, you're bearing the children. You are. I have my Capricorn cousin literally about to is pregnant and is going to be giving birth soon. It's that feeling though of bearing the children, literally or hypothetically, and then getting back to business, right? It's about celebrating. It's about having fun. It's about enjoying life. There's a sense of, again, I use that word, joie de vivre, the joy of life, the pleasure of just living and existing in the world and feeling just so connected to the passion of life on earth, right? And then we're moving forward with just like, what's next, right? Always what's next with you guys, right? Always what's passion, but this is like with passion, this is with grounding, this is with a sense of fire, being fired up, maybe being very sexual, right? You guys are a pretty sexual sign. That's why you have represented by the devil, right? But no matter what it is, it's like a fire in the belly energy, right? Going to the new year, like just really ready for just taking your manifestation game to the next level, Capricorn. All right, so let's go ahead and keep moving forward. We have Aquarius next. So let's take a look at what Aquarius has going on for them coming up in this fall. Aquarius for the fall. The Magician. So this came up in your, not this card, but this is reminding me of like the September monthly horoscopes I did for you guys, where it's just on this game of creation, this game of like knowing what you have to offer, right? Like using your wits, using your charm, using all of your abilities together. And I think that you're starting off this fall just like ready to take on what's coming your way, really ready to push to the next level, to create, right? So if you guys are in a creative field especially, you're going to be feeling that. But I think what this is saying is that autumn is like a time of upgrades for you guys, right? It's a time of all the experience and knowledge you've been accumulating, all the work you've been doing, not just falling in your lap, like the benefits of it, but like you actually putting it to use. And this is like a sort of Aquarius ingenuity thing of just taking what you have and making it bigger and making it more exciting and bringing more passion and more energy and more a greater sense of creation, right? With the Magician, it's all about creation. It's about using our resources. It's about you know, finally what I'm thinking of bringing into being things that might have been sitting on your mind for a while, right? So any plans that you've been marinating on, Aquarius, I think this fall is going to be the time to bring those into being, right? If you wanted to move, or you wanted to change your careers, or you have just like some business project or something that you've been working towards, whatever you've been working for, whatever you've been planning, whatever you've been you've had in the works is now coming into the fall, coming to a place of starting to see that come into being. Six of Pentacles. So you're starting off Libra season like super balanced. You're starting off this fall feeling just in control is what I feel like with this card, right? You're feeling like you think especially with these two, there's going to be an emphasis on like a give and take of relationships, I think, of business projects, of business connections, right? So I do think that this is a great time, like I said in your reading, it's a great time to be on your team. It's a great time to be on Aquarius' side, because you guys are in a mode of manifestation and bringing things into being and bringing things into creation and really being willing to put in work for people who are willing to put in work with you, really being willing to this is kind of a sense of like knowing who's on your team and who's not, right? Knowing who's here for your benefit, who's here trying to help you out, here who has your best interest in mind, right? And being willing to put that back in a way that it's just gonna like double and triple your results. Well, as I say, Eight of Pentacles about doing the work, right? About creating what comes next. Now you guys are are putting your energy out there. There's going to be, in this fall, I think, some real material manifestations of the work you've been doing, and this is like work that's been supercharged with meaning, right? Where now you're kind of plugged in to your greater sense of purpose, to like really knowing what it is that you want, and being ready and willing to make the work to make it happen. Like, these are just such great cards of things coming into real being. Like you're going to be making real moves forward, like tangible steps forward. I think by the end of this fall, your life is going to be looking a little different in like at least one major way. I think with Aquarius, you guys have been again planning a lot, right? You've been stashing stuff away for a rainy day. You've been you know, it's just like you're at this point. It feels like this point where, you know, when you have to be ready for something, and now you guys are just ready. To give of yourself, to get back, to have your work take form in the world. You know what's so funny? I haven't seen this card in a long time, but today you're like the fourth sign that this has come up for, the Seeker. So we're going into the new year. I think this is like the abundance of everything that life has to offer just being in front of you. It's almost as if Aquarius, by the end of the year, is going to just be feeling this sense of being able to do whatever you want, and having been on this like really long journey where it's like what has come before you is paving the way for what comes next. And I think you're going to be wrapping up this autumn I think there's a sense here also with the Seeker of like spiritual connection. With these two cards next to each other, there is an emphasis, I think, on meaning. And I do think that, and it's not just meaning in terms of like the work you do having meaning, but what meaning your life is going to take on, right? Like almost like, what are you living for? What is your purpose? What is the point of all this work? Like, where is that taking you to? And then happiness, right? We end up this reading, end up the fall for Aquarius with the Sun, with a sense of joy. And this is such an Aquarius card in a way, because the way that the Sun is kind of looking off to the side, it's sort of like we have this reason to celebrate. We have this victory, we have this success, but we're also like kind of got our eye on what comes next. And I think that's the exact energy that Aquarius is going to be wrapping up this fall with joy and happiness. But again, there's that greater sense of what is all this for, right? What's the meaning of all this? What is this actually translating in terms of my life? Like, I'm hitting the work goals, I'm hitting like the material milestones, but now what about my personal soul goals? What about the goals of my evolution, of my growth as a human being in the world? And I think that's going to be on your minds a lot this fall. And I think that by the end of it, you're going to actually have a clearer sense of that, right? Have a clearer sense of where you're going and what you want, and then start to see that start to materialize. So real profound sense of movement here, real profound sense of manifestation, of victory, of success with you guys, right? All right, cool. So moving forward, let's go ahead and jump into Pisces and see what Pisces has to look forward to this fall. Pisces. What are we looking at for Pisces this fall? Pisces. Okay, Pisces. So we're starting off the fall with you guys in a place of a Wheel of Fortune. And I think that this is actually really positive. I think that right now you're probably feeling this tremendous shift towards newness, towards the future, right? It's almost as if sometimes you guys can get a little bogged down by your baggage, and I think that what this is saying is it's like a willingness to let go, a willingness of fate to move you forward, of being excited and waiting to see like what the world has to store, what the world has to offer, what the world has in store, right? It might have been feeling for a while like a little low, and if you're not feeling like totally high yet, I think that you guys are probably feeling the shift, right? The movement towards that sense of something better is coming, right? It's something, at least what this is if you're not feeling that something better is coming, it's definitely a strong sense of being ready, right? Being willing to just be brand new, being willing to let all the goodness that you maybe don't even know is possible for you come into being. And I think what's going to happen is this fall is going to be tremendously fulfilling, is what the word I want to use, right? I think that, you know, if there's feeling a little bit of like a void in your heart, or like there's a void in your life, I think you're going to feel that void get filled, right? In a way that is deep and profound and meaningful for you guys, right? I think that this is a time to sort of allow yourself to dream, because it feels like there's good reason to let yourself imagine that things are going to improve and be better, right? Page of Pentacles. I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is going to be new relationships. I don't know why sometimes especially with the Page and the Ace of Pentacles, I get a really strong sense of relationships, but it's like those kind of like life partners things, right? Like the relationships that last. Like definitely what we're moving towards here is stability here. The Wheel of Fortune and then the Page of Pentacles. I think that you're starting off the fall at least feeling financially stable, right? At least feeling like you're laying the groundwork, is what I feel like for future family, for future like what your domestic world is going to look like. I think right now you're feeling the Page of Pentacles is very dreamy to me in a way where it's like ideas and fantasies and dreams about what the material world has for you and how that can fulfill you, right? I do think we're going back to the heart with Pisces, and we are looking back at, you know, if things have been good for you in the material realm, like what's going on now in your emotional realm. And I don't think you really have to worry about that too much, because I do feel like with these cards, it's showing that positivity in that regard is coming your way. And that growth is coming your way, right? And that, you know, the old ways of being, that the Tower are fading out of existence. I think that there's going to be a lot of wake-up calls. I think you're going to feel really illuminated. It might hurt for some of you in some ways, but ultimately what I'm seeing here with these cards so far is it's growth, right? If anything, this is getting rid of things that are not truthful, right? Things that are not honest, right? So there's this almost, if it hurts a little bit, there's this movement into honesty and truth, and it makes sense that the Tower is Mars, and this is like the Scorpio season. So you know, in October, November, you guys might feel a deepening, but in a way like a deepening of meaning that kind of shows you what is false and shows you what has no place in your life, right? And shows you what's real and what isn't. You know, what ways of being don't work anymore, right? With the Page of Pentacles, it's like you're ready for something new. You're ready for the possibility that your life could actually be different than you've allowed yourself to think that it can be. It's like, even if you guys have been hopeful or optimistic, I think that maybe deep down inside you might have been feeling like almost like the things that you dream of, the things that you're hopeful of, are almost like not even realistic, if that makes sense, right? So it's like, yeah, I'm putting out energy to bring in love, I'm putting out energy to bring in success and prosperity, but there's almost something I'm feeling for you guys, something in the back of your head that's been almost feeling like that's not really going to happen, right? Where there's this fundamental doubt, this fundamental like insecurity, this fundamental sense of like, I'm not really sure, right? And then two of Swords. So we're moving into this place where now the whole like future is ahead of you, and you have to start making some serious choices. You have to start really deciding, you know, where you're going and what's going to be happening. I think that this is definitely in tune with the energies of the season of being reflective and pensive and introspective, right? But I think that something's going to happen for you guys this fall that is really going to make you consider in a big way what your life looks like going forward, right? There might be some shifts in terms of like, you know, I'm feeling with this card, it's a combination of cards like sacrifices, So some of you might be having to make some real life choices about, you know, maybe, you know, what the future is with the person that you're with, what the future is with your job, where the future is about where you live. That's what I'm feeling here with you guys here is like, because of this sense of shifting and changing and like new opportunities and things like falling away that don't make sense anymore. Now you're ending up with this fall with the sense of like, okay, now what do I do? And I think that you're gonna have to make some really tough choices. I think you're gonna have to really dig deep and say, you know, what is it that I really want? What is it that's really fulfilling? What is it that I'm doing now or can do now that's going to really be serving the goals that I have for myself in the future going forward, right? So let's see where you guys end this fall at. King of Wands. All right, so I do think that for some of you, you're going to find yourself dealing with very influential fiery types. So whether it's an actual fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sag, or just an influence in your life that is kind of assertive, kind of but also I think this is you almost like feeling if that presence is in your life, it's like inspiring you to be this way. Sometimes I feel like that with the court cards. It can simultaneously be an energy that someone's bringing into your life in a way that energy kind of makes you shift and change and move forward. And I do think that you guys are gonna step up to the challenge, and that you're gonna do with the King of Swords. You might gonna be doing the hard thing. You might be making those hard choices, but it's like with such a sense of leadership and such a sense of self-knowledge and understanding, and like that whatever choice you make going forward is going to be like, what I feel like I need to reassure you guys of is that whatever choices you make are going to be the right ones, right? They're going to be in service of who you are, in service of your greater goals, in service of you know, I think it is going to be a little tough. Like it might feel a little bit like you have to maybe be almost uncharacteristically I don't want to say mean, but maybe a little harsh. In some ways that might rock your sensitive Pisces soul. But ultimately, that like it's gonna be the right thing, right? There's this feeling of I hate to say it, but there's almost this feeling of like sadness and having to let go of things that were meaningful to you and very important to you. But I think by the end of this fall, going into the new year, you're going to be making big steps and big moves that are ultimately, you know, a sign of strength and a sign of you knowing yourself best, and you knowing what you need, and you know, frankly, being willing to make the hard choices that are going to allow you to move forward into exactly where you're supposed to end up, right? That's what it's like. It's like where you're going to end up, right? And then like by your next birthday, when you're celebrating Pisces season, you're ready to embrace that, right? All right, guys, so let's go ahead and move forward. We're going to pull cards now for Aries. Aries, let's see what Aries has going on for you guys this fall. Aries, I think that this is going to be a fun, exciting fall. I think there's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of passion. More than fun and passion, a lot of, like I feel like the fire in your belly getting lit. I feel like, you know, if there's been complacency or apathy in your life, like kind of shaking that off and moving towards a new place. So we're starting off with you guys with the Ace of Cups, with the fall, right? So Aries is feeling a new sense of love, a new sense of connection, of emotional connection to your life, right? What I was saying about apathy, this feels like being really inspired and being really motivated to, this is almost to me feeling like self-love in a new way for Aries this fall, right? This sense of being complete in yourself, being self-sustaining in your feelings for yourself, and being able to take care of yourself and nurture your own feelings and nurture your heart and care for your heart in a new way. I feel like maybe you guys have been through some shit that has kind of made you kind of say enough. You know, I'm not putting myself second. I'm not bending over backwards to please other people. Like, this is unusual too, because sometimes you guys are sometimes you guys can be a sign that's a little disconnected from yourself emotionally. So to see that, like in the Ace of Cups going into the fall, it's perfect energy for, you know, the time of year when we're going within and we're getting deep and we're getting in touch with what has meaning to us. And I just think that there's almost like Aries having emotional boundaries of saying that, you know, you're not going to stand for things anymore. You're going to, if things are upsetting you, maybe like are not so willing to put on a brave face and just deal with it, but actually like like deal with it, like grin and bear it, kind of deal with it, but like actually face the things that are bothering you, and address like the emotions that you might be feeling, right? So starting off the fall, we're going into the Magician energy. Just a passion for creating things, right? A passion for being your best self is what I feel like, right? Of embracing your individuality, of wanting to express that, of almost with the Magician, I'm feeling like drawing a circle around yourself, right? Like a ring of fire where you're saying, this is who I am, this is what I want. It's like very defining, right? Very, very defining in who you are. Very defining, I feel like, in particular in your relationships. So you might have to, I feel like, maybe assert yourself in some of your personal relationships, especially love relationships, right? Of saying, you know, not assert yourself in a way where you have to feel like, you know, if someone's taking advantage of you or bullying you or pushing you around or anything like that, but asserting yourself in terms of like what it is that you actually want. Like, this is a sense of self-leadership to me. This is a sense of it could be entrepreneurship, right? This is a sense of saying, of grabbing life by the horns and saying like, I'm not okay with being checked out. I'm not okay with being apathetic to my own life. I'm not okay with, you know, like letting other people call the shots and having this sense of passive, like, I'm just going to roll with it. It's like you're taking charge and taking control of where you're going. And putting it into reality. The Three of Pentacles, like what a combo for creation, what a combo for harvest, for really connecting with the people who make you feel strong, and but bringing your own thing to the table. This is like Aries knowing what they bring to the table, Aries knowing what they have to offer, Aries knowing like their own worth. Right? Three of Pentacles is often about collaboration, working with others. So what was I just saying about the Magician and asserting yourself and creating boundaries for yourself with regards to how you interact with other people, and actually that being really positive and really constructive and really productive, right? I think that you're going to come into the Scorpio season, especially, right, with stability, with grounding, with a clearer, maybe than you have had in a long time, clearer sense of self and clearer sense of who you are and what you're about and where you're going and what you want to create. If you guys have been feeling a little ambivalent and unsure, by like mid-fall, you're gonna start feeling more of like more confidence, right? More confidence in your direction, more self-esteem, right? More of a sense of worth, of value, of meaning, right? Venus and Scorpio is going to bring that out of us, like wanting us to have meaning, while asking ourselves what is important to us, what feeds us and what nourishes us and what doesn't. And I don't feel like you guys are going to actually have to deal with too much negativity in that regard. And we have the King of Pentacles, right? In terms of like feeling like people take from you. It's more about, in my mind, like asserting yourself than having to like push people away per se, right? And then at the end of by the end of it all, you're at the King of Pentacles place, right? Where you're creating. This is what I was saying before with the energy of entrepreneurship, with the energy of establishing like who you are in the world. Like this is super positive. So if you guys have been struggling financially, I think that this is a really good sign that this fall is going to bring a sense of stability and a sense of happiness, I think, with regards to your financial situation, with regards to feeling okay in your home life, right? Feeling settled. You guys have maybe been feeling a little unsettled. That might have been because there's a lot of change and transformation happening. And now this fall is letting you get a chance to like catch a breath, right? To just woosah a little bit and chill out and luxuriate in everything that's good for you, everything that is constructive and positive and adding value to your life. And I think you're going to go into the new year feeling just like really proud of yourself, right? I think that's what I'm getting at, is a real sense of pride in like, I worked really hard to get to where I am. I've worked, I've busted my ass, I've sacrificed, I've given up, I've dealt with shitty people and I've dealt with shitty jobs, and now I'm at a place where I'm not as affected by those things anymore, and now I can like be comfortable. Now I can be kind of happy again, right? Happiness, this is what we're starting off with, is just that drive for happiness. So far for most of the signs, and I like that I'm doing this house of abundance, prosperity, harvesting, because there's just been like heavy pentacle energy in all of the readings so far, right? And then we're ending up this fall, going into the winter with, what did I say? Security, balance, stability, right? I want to say, I think this came up with Libra, and I want to say the same with you guys. A lot of times, this Four of Pentacles energy can be like stagnation of energy, right? Of holding on too tightly to things that you shouldn't be. But I think that for you guys, I want you to kind of enjoy that. I feel like what I want to say for you guys is to really luxuriate in how far you've come and marinate in it and have really strong sense of like that's what I feel like with this Four of Pentacles. It's like hard-earned sense of security, right? So it's not something that you want to shy away from. It's not something you want to like. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Emperor, right? So what did I say about pride, about feeling like you worked for this, about feeling like you come to a new place? Aries has been getting really in touch with themselves. I think this has been a theme in the monthly horoscopes too, about really understanding who you are. What I said about the Magician, this personal fire, this boundary of saying, this is who I am, asserting yourself, right? Underneath it all is like Aries is now in a place where you guys are ready to just like take charge of your lives and enjoy the comforts of all the work you've been doing and go into 2019 even feeling like in a better place, feeling like the ups and downs that you've been experiencing, the uncertainty or insecurities about who you are, where your life is going. By the end of the fall, I feel like that being very settled for you guys and really just being you know, having a strong sense of self, having a strong sense of direction, right? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and shuffle and get into Taurus. Take a water break because I've been talking straight for like over an hour. All right, so let's see what we've got coming up in store for Taurus this autumn. I think Taurus is going to be enjoying life. I think Taurus is going to have like, I just feel like such a sense of celebration and such a sense of, there's a lot of signs celebrating. I think it's because, you know, we've done so much work this spring, even the spring too, right? With eclipses and the retrogrades in the summer and all that stuff. Like, we've been doing so much work, so much internal work. And I think Taurus has maybe been getting pulled back and forth between a lot of things in the last few months. And I feel for you guys this fall is going to be a time to really just enjoy life, like stop and smell the flowers kind of feeling about life for Taurus this fall. Yep. All right, so you're coming into the fall with the Tower energy. Not necessarily anything scary or bad or to be afraid of, but I think that what I feel is like a shedding of. Can it be that Taurus is shedding their old ways? That Taurus is waking up to a new way of being, that life is now so much more in a way than you thought it could have been, right? I feel like with this card, you know, someone once told me about the Tower being like you're in a dark forest and there's a strike of lightning and all of a sudden everything in the forest is illuminated and you can see clearly for even half a second, right? And that could be really devastating or that could be really positive, right? It could put you back on track. But this is like that flash of like, I feel like Taurus is waking up to themselves, and Taurus has been, you know, realizing that maybe a lot of the ways you guys have been doing things haven't been working, right? It might not have been working, and now like life is but it's almost like we're coming into this autumn past that part, right, where that realization has already happened and steps have been being made to move yourself forward. But like in an internal, I feel like this is with you guys, like internally in terms of like personal transformation and personal growth and taking on new roles in life and taking on a new identity and taking on a new sense of like who you are and what you're about and what you want your life to be. There's like a big opening in life, right, for you guys where I just feel like there's this sense of really looking forward to the future and really having that moment of illumination and clarity that maybe might have shaken your world a little bit and changed a lot of things for you, but that ultimately is leading to possibilities to create a new identity and create a new sense of self. I feel like that a lot. I keep coming back to the idea of Taurus and the self, right? I knew as I was saying this was going to come up. Two of Wands, right? Everything I've just been talking about with regards to looking towards the future, right? Looking towards what's going to be happening for you guys. Looking at the void that maybe like life has created for you, and things maybe not having worked out, and now you're like, okay, like all of that is bullshit. You know how like sometimes when you hit rock bottom, then you can, this happened for me like years ago, when you have just everything is going wrong and everything is falling apart, and it just makes you call everything into question and to look at life in a new way, where now it's almost like no options are off the table, right? And that's what I feel like with you guys, where it's like now there's just coming into the fall with this sense of endless possibilities, with this sense of adventure, with this excitement about, you know, what life could be and what maybe you've been missing out on, right? Like that's what I want to say too, is like there's a sense of maybe like you've been missing out on something, maybe a sense of your gaze, your vision being directed in a way that, in a direction that, you know, was good for you at a time, but now it's almost like you realize how limiting that has been, and realize now like what is possible for you when you just like start opening your eyes up and looking at what else life could be. And it's like there's a sense of purpose now. There's this new sense of happiness and celebration, right? There's this new sense of moving towards. You see why I said I wasn't too worried about the Tower? Because we have that moment, right? But then as we move into the fall, we move towards like optimism and looking towards the future, and then reasons to celebrate. With the Four of Wands, it's about I think that this is you guys having fun, like enjoying this new sense of self, enjoying what changes life has brought to you these past few months, right? Being able to like really sit in yourself and like what I said, stop and smell the flowers. Do you see this? I don't think there's any other card in this deck that has like flower wreaths like that. Like it's just this sense of enjoying the moment, enjoying like where you've come and how far you've come, and like what you have to look forward to, and the people in your life, and you might be just celebrating with family and celebrating with loved ones. I feel like loved ones especially, I think that there's an emphasis on, I know, the warm good feelings, right? Your planet Venus is going to be going to Scorpio, which is going to want to make you deepen your connections with others, and yes, weed out connections that don't work and that aren't fulfilling, but in a way that's going to make you feel just so powerful and so connected and so strong, right? Like Taurus is a sign that is so associated with like being on your own and standing up on your own, but there's a strength that does come from the strength of your relationships and the power of your relationships, right? So look, it's like I just noticed this too in this card. You have the Tower, right? And then in the Two of Wands in the distance you have this castle. And the Four of Wands, we're at the castle again, but now it's like closer. And then at the Hierophant, now it's like we're at the opening of it. We're ready to move on to the next phase. We're ready to evolve towards, this is what I feel like with you guys. By the end of the fall, you're moving into this place where you're ready to evolve, where you're ready to be connected deeper to the people, to your family, to build up your domestic, that's what I was getting at with the castles, right? Is to build up your domestic life in a way that feels real, in a way that feels supportive, in a way that feels like nurturing and nourishing, right? And you guys are gonna feel wiser. You guys are gonna feel more experienced. You're gonna feel more, what I feel like is more capable, right? More emotionally capable of having everything you want, and then also being like spiritually and emotionally fulfilled too. So there's this like very heart-centered reading here, right? Even though we have wands and majors, like these kind of shocking, like harsh cards a little bit, but to me it feels like when I'm looking at this is like heart-centered. Taurus being very assimilating lessons and growing, right? That's and just the reason I say heart-centered is because I feel like you guys have been growing, but like in a way where you're not sure about your emotional realities a little bit, or where that part of your life has been in the past like not super solid, and now you're moving to a place where now you are feeling solid, and you're going into the new year with a sense of knowing yourself and a sense of experience and wisdom. And again, I think there's a lot to say here about finding value and finding your identity and finding your self-worth in your connections with people. And then, of course, ending the year with work. But do you see how it's also like, of all the pentacles that have been coming, this has been coming out a lot, and I swear I've been shuffling really thoroughly. You guys know I've usually been spreading out the cards, but this month I've been just like actually shuffling them like a normal deck of cards. This has come up, this is maybe the 4th or 5th time. It's time of harvest, right? So we're like, it's not like the work is over. There's still work to be done, but now we can kind of see a little bit more of what we've been working towards, right? We see how the work that the sacrifices we've been making, the energy we've been putting out into the world is now taking on meaning and taking on shape and taking on form and purpose, and giving us like a little joy now, giving us a little excitement, a reason to like, this is to me like a very as passionate maybe as Taurus is gonna get, like because you're in the realm of material well-being, but there's this like excitement behind it, right? But we're still ultimately looking at material well-being. So I think that financially you guys are going to be moving forward, and you might be saving your money, you might be moving up in your job, right? Like the status of the Hierophant and the forward progress. But Taurus, I do think that again, I'm going to go back to what I said before about stopping and smelling the flowers. Like that's the energy here for this fall is lightheartedness, is fun, is joy, is adventure, it's passion, it's the thing that gets your heart racing, right? And I think that this is very, very, I don't know why, I just felt like very people oriented. I feel like very relationship oriented, very much like, it's almost as if like you're taking on a new identity, a new role, right? In terms of maybe being a lover, being a parent, being whatever it is. It's like there's this taking on of a new sense of self, a new identity, a new label, a new way of being, right? All right, great, Taurus. So now we're going to go ahead and reshuffle and jump into Gemini and see what Gemini, hey Gemini, has going on for us this fall. And I'm super excited to see, because this summer's been crazy and I want to know for myself even what we have to look forward to in this autumn. I think that for us it's still going to be a time of, I think, processing what's happened, I think that there's been a lot of transformation and we're not totally comfortable yet, but we're still getting situated in our new way of being, in our new life, and all the things that the summer made us realize about ourselves. And now we're coming to a place of still grounding, right? Like the sediment is still like kind of floating in the water for us, but and I think this autumn is going to be a time for us to collect ourselves, to gather ourselves, right? So we're coming into this as the Fool. What did I just say about like having this sense of transformation, having this sense of like having to look towards the future, having to figure out who we are now, right? The Fool is the new beginning. The Fool is excited, yes, and but it's a new sense of self. It's a new sense of adventure. It's a new sense of who we are and what we're going to be. What did I just say about how we're still trying on the new way of being? We're still trying on and getting situated and processing all the changes that have happened, and now we're at that 0 point, right? We're at the point of the beginning where we're ready to form an identity. We're not at the place of, like, you know, the Aries card, where the Emperor, where we were forming our identity. We're still like just kind of dealing with the ripples a little bit, right? I do think with the Fool, though, there is a sense of optimism. Like, I don't feel bad about what I'm saying in terms of, you know, still processing, still trying on a new way of being, because I think that with the Fool, it's like we know in our hearts that the new person we are, the new person we're becoming is so much better than who we've been, right? We don't even have to know entirely where we're ending up yet. We just know, like, the beginning of the journey is already a surefire sign, a signal to us that things are just going to get better. Things are going to be improving. No matter who we end up as and no matter where our life is, it's going to be better than where we come from, right? So that's where I want to start off saying is that for us Geminis, where we're going is just going to be you know, it's like we have the wide open road in front of us, but it's like we're driving really fast in a car, and we don't know when we're going to get to the destination. We don't know, you know, what it's going to look like when we get there, but we're just enjoying the thrill of the drive. We're enjoying the fact that we're just moving again, right? We're not stuck anymore. We're not like heavy anymore, right? We're moving towards the future. And in October, in the beginning of the fall, we're really focused on our security. I swear, you guys have seen me, you see me shuffling, right? And I'm being very thorough. This is like the 5th sign that this card has come up for, because I do think that in this autumn, it is about getting a sense of stability, and it is about finding security. And I think with Gemini, we are getting a sense, I think, Jesus Christ, it scared the crap out of me. I was kind of concerned that that might happen at some point, but that kind of got me a little shook here. I'm using those command strips. I swear, they're such garbage. Like, I used one of those hooks and it just doesn't even stay up. Anyway, so there goes my decor for this, huh? Put all this effort and energy into buying all this stuff to look cute and whatever. But anyway, so Gemini, I think the point is that we're not quite out of the woods yet, right? We're still, even if we're getting to a place of recovery and moving forward, we're still feeling maybe like a little messy, a little bit like we might still experience a couple of setbacks, right? I think we're moving into the fall, yes, optimistic, and yes, ready and willing to like see what's next, but then I think also with an eye on what makes us feel stable, right? I don't think we felt the most stable. I don't think we felt like we can just kind of be on autopilot. Like, there's been a lot of ups and downs, and there's been a lot of uncertainty and insecurities, and I think that that's going to be on our mind. But I think it's a good thing, because I think, especially with regards to our finances are going to maybe start to level out and feel a little more supportive of us, right? Start to feel a little bit more like we have that area of our life under control somewhat, right? So it's interesting that as we're venturing out into this new journey of like what the future has and what we have to look forward to, we're still feeling a little shaky and still really desiring you know, that real sense of stability. And for some of us, that might be wanting to have the stability of a relationship. For some of us, that might be the stability of, you know, moving to a job where we're making more money or something like that. But I do think that there's still a need, and don't like dismiss ourselves, like don't like attack ourselves for this, beat ourselves up, because this is actually pretty positive in my mind. I think it's just a sign that we still need something that makes us feel rooted and grounded, and then you see what's happening here with the Page of Pentacles. It's not static. It's like, it's this sense of like, it's okay to feel this need for security, because what it does is it pushes us forward into this place where we're now like really ready to manifest, and we're really ready to take the next stage in our businesses, in our careers, in our material domain. I think a lot of us are going to be really getting into shape this fall. If you haven't been working out or whatever, if that's been a goal of yours, I think that like our health is going to be on the upswing. I think that our finances are on the upswing. The Page of Pentacles is a promise of all the great shit that's yet to come. And I think that you know, this is a great, you know, follow-up to the Fool energy, right? Because it takes that la-di-da, head in the clouds kind of daydreamy energy and starts to make it practical and starts to make it real, and we can start to see the payoffs. Remember, I've been saying about all the Pentacles energy that's been coming up, like Pentacles after Pentacles after Pentacles for all the signs. So I do think, like, especially like late October into November, we're going to start to feel like our material world is coming together. Like, we're going to start that security that we were like longing for in the Four of Pentacles. We now actually start to have it, right? In a way where now maybe we can lighten up a little bit, where we don't have to be so nervous, is what I feel, right? Like, we don't have to be nervous about whether we're going to be okay. We don't have to be nervous about, you know, about if we're ever going to find love or anything like that. We're going to have this like security. And so we have another four here, right? The Four of Cups. This to me is about contemplation, right? It's a card of yes, abundance and knowing that like we have a lot going for us. I think that Gemini going into the end of the autumn season and into the new year even is going to have a sense of things improving. With the Four of Cups, that's not typically how we think of that card, but to me, what I'm seeing here with this spread here is that there is a sense with the Four of Cups of opportunities, right? With the Page of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles, there's this symbiotic energy where we have like a sense of emotional security and financial security, right? The Four of Pentacles, I mean, the Four of Cups, though, is a sign of, like I said, contemplation, of taking a step back, of looking at where we've been and where we want to go. So I do think that this is going to be kind of like, not that Gemini is not going to have fun. Of course, we're going to have fun. Of course, we're going to have this like gung-ho, zest for life spirit. But I think this might be kind of like a sort of more serious autumn for Gemini, but in a promising way, where we know in a way that the seriousness and the attitude that we have now, that's going to it's going to push us forward, right? It's going to lead us into the new year in a place where we do feel like we are more taken care of, that we can be ourselves and have more fun. Now Gemini, we're ending up with the Devil here, so do be careful, I think, about getting into negative state of mind, right? Especially with these two cards too. The Four of Cups can be sort of dwelling on negative stuff, and not seeing all the greatness that life has to offer. So with the Devil rounding out this reading, I do feel like you know, don't go too wild, and that doesn't have to just mean like, because of course there's a place where the Devil means addictions and, you know, drugs, sex, and rock and roll kind of energy, right? And I think that is an energy that we could get sucked into, but at the end of the day, underneath this all is the Knight of Pentacles. At the end of the day, I do think that I want to say a couple things with the Devil. I want to say be okay with going a little wild, right? But don't get carried away, because this is like almost like the success that you've experiencing could make you a little negligent, could make you give into some of your more base feelings, right? You might find yourself being a little arrogant, right? And in a way that, you know, Geminis, we can be sometimes, which is maybe why we get a bad rap sometimes, like, because when we're feeling ourselves, we feel so good that you know, and some people take it the wrong way, where I think for us sometimes we think we're just celebrating life, and other people see us as being super fucking arrogant. And so be careful of that. Be careful of getting carried away with arrogance. Be careful of getting away with darkness, right? Like, don't sink into anger. There's a potential here to get angry, but I think there's also, what I feel like here, guys, could be a really deep, almost like codependent relationship, but not necessarily in a way that I feel is super bad, in a way that we might feel super into somebody and super connected with the person. And I think we might go into the winter time like just like having maybe one of those relationships where we're just always together and always want to be together, always inseparable. And, you know, with the Devil, we have like passionate sex and passionate feelings for each other, right? So I do think, in a way, and looking at the Devil in the least negative way to look at it, we are going to Capricorn season, maybe feeling bonded, right? Maybe feeling connected, maybe, yes, feeling some of that I want to party and be wild and be a little arrogant and have fun, but also like there's a depth that comes with the Devil. There's a depth of intimacy that I think allows us to face the dark shit that we might be coming up for us, right? To face the dark times, right? To face the shadow self. That's what the Devil ultimately is, right? It's the shadow self. So Gemini, I think that going to the winter, we are going to be dealing with but maybe some of the darker parts of ourselves that we might not like, but that come to the surface for evaluation, and that allow us to go into the winter time feeling super strong and capable. Bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So again, with the business and of material success, I think we're going to start to see that happening this autumn. I think this is going to be a time of Gemini really reaping what we've sown and seeing real progress in terms of our careers, our jobs, our finances, our home life, all of that stuff, right? All right, Gemini, great reading. Let's go ahead and move on to Cancer. Let's see what Cancer has coming up for them this autumn. I think Cancers are going to be very relationship oriented. I think Cancers are going to feel like the warm fuzzies a lot this autumn. I think Cancers is going to feel like your heart swelling is what I feel like. All right, let's see what Cancer has going on for you guys. All right, so coming into the autumn, I think a little unsure of yourself, a little unsure of what you want, feeling like maybe there's so many directions you can go in that you're not quite sure where to go, right? And this can, I think, in a way for you guys have a little bit of a dampening effect where it might like affect your mood a little bit, where it might make you feel a little off balance, a little bit like, I don't want to say angry, but there might be a danger here of like escapism, right? There might be a sense here of indulging in things that aren't maybe the most positive for you. But I do think ultimately what's going to happen, I think that if that is happening for you guys, this is something you have to go through, because on the other side of it, I think, is clarity, right? The other side, maybe you have to put your hand in a lot of different pots to see what you want, and maybe some of those hurt, and maybe some of those aren't productive or useful, but by the end of it, I think you'll come out of it really having a strong sense of direction, of having clarity, of maybe having to get knocked around a little bit, but getting back on your feet in a way that moves you forward. Because look, we're starting off we're going into the fall season with victory. So this is actually like where you guys have been, right? Maybe this over the summer, right? Being confused, being all over the place a little bit, being a little scattered, being a little escapist, being a little angry, being a little distracted, confused, right? And then now we're starting off like Libra season with the sense of victory, with the sense of stability, with the sense of you know, everything that you've been doing is starting to pay off in a good way, where now you're starting to feel comfortable. You see, we're going from the 7 of Cups to the 6 of Wands. So that's what I was saying about the narrowing down of choices, of the feeling of you know, you got it going on, right? The feeling like that you guys are in charge and control of yourselves and in control of your lives and the direction it's going in, right? The 6 of Wands also sees you being very connected to people. That's why I was starting to say like you know, intimate relationships and being really warm and close with people. I think that you're going to have a lot of fun times with people. I think you're going to be celebrating a lot. I think that you're going to be supported and nurtured by your relationships, right? And next we have Judgment. So I think with Judgment coming up here, this is around Scorpio time, it's absolutely time for transformation. I think that what's been happening is that you guys have been going through transformation and changing slowly but surely. We talked about this in the monthly readings, right? Going through transformation and trying on new ways of being and looking towards like outmoded identities and the future, what the future has for you, right? And I think around Scorpio season, around late October, you're going to really start to take that on. I think that you're going to really get situated in something really new. I think you're going to get situated in a new way of being. I think that there's a lot of positivity coming your way. I think that your identity is going to feel more solid than ever. I think that you know, there's just this overwhelming feeling here of blessings and abundance and prosperity coming your way emotionally, and just like in a way that transforms your life, in a way that makes you feel better than you have in a long time, in a way that makes you feel more grounded and more connected and more in touch with yourself more than anything, right? And then again, ending up and rounding out like Sag season, right, with the Empress energy. So endless abundance. This exactly what I was saying before. Comfort, love, right? The Empress is Venus. It's the things we value. It's the things that give us comfort and makes us feel safe and secure in the world, right? That makes us feel nurtured. Like, talk about what I said with love, right? The Empress is like the major arcana card for love. I mean, besides the Lovers, that's like coupling. But for you and your energy, I think that you're just gonna feel abundant, and you're gonna feel really wealthy, and you're gonna feel you know, cared for. I want to say, I think you're going to feel nurtured. I think you're going to feel you know, the master of your domain in a positive way. Like, not like you're in charge of it, but like where like your home life is comfortable and it's new and it's like if you guys are looking for relationships or on the cusp of one, I think that this is like a really surefire sign that things are going to work out in that regard. And if you're not, this can just be the sense that like I think that there's a transformative energy here of emotions, of going from a lost, confused place to a place of knowing your worth and knowing your value, knowing who you are, really embracing like the newness and embracing like the abundance that is possible for you now. And this fall is really going to see you guys and this fall is really going to see you guys maybe falling in love. So I'm just gonna give myself a pat on the back here because I literally just said how the Empress is like love, but it's not the lovers. And what did I start off when I was shuffling saying about you guys? How there's just gonna be romance and your heart is gonna be swelling in this love. Like, look at this abundance of love. Look at this call to almost like, it's almost like a new relationship or a new way of being, like brings a whole new existence for you, brings like a whole new phase of your life, a whole new chapter. I mean, if you guys are looking for love, like I think this fall it's gonna happen. I think that you might have people in your life already that it's just gonna intensify with, or that you're gonna like really find yourself connected to a new partner. I really feel that way. I think that you're gonna go into this holiday season feeling really comforted, feeling really loved, feeling like maybe if you haven't had love in a while, like that you finally have it and it's coming to you now, right? And that you feel a little more whole, a little more balanced, a little more you know, for a lot of signs that's not the great thing to say, like that you're dependent on another person. I'm not saying Cancer does, but Cancer gets a lot of a sense of security from love and from romance and all that stuff, right? From material well-being also, right? So Cancer, I think this fall is looking like so bright for you. It's like you come out of this place of gloominess, of darkness, and it's like this whole new life is waiting for you, this whole new sense of self, this whole new phase. That's what it feels like, a new phase. It feels like a lot of y'all might be getting like if wifed up and maybe literally married, but if not, I feel like commitment, I feel like connection, I feel you know, that's what I'm getting for you guys. Bottom of the deck we have the waxing gibbous moon. So this is all about being in a place right now where you're refining your goals, where you're feeling a new way of being coming into existence, and you're like polishing it. You're figuring out exactly who you are and what you want to be, right? And then there's love for Cancer. Love. Like I said it, you saw it, come out yourself. Love. Right? All right, so let's go ahead and move on to Leo. We're gonna shuffle real quick to see what Leo has going on for you guys this fall. I think Leo is making big moves. I think Leo is moving into new realms of being, a new sense of self, a new attitude. I feel like almost like an arrogance, but not like in a bad way, in a really like, if you felt insecure this past few months, if you felt knocked around, if you felt like uncertain, like that's what I mean by that arrogance. It's like you feel connected to yourself. You feel like just secure, grounded is what I feel with Leo coming into this fall, right? Let's see what we've got going on for you guys. Page of Cups. So I think a lot of you might have had new love and new relationships. So the Page of Cups is like the person who offers love, right? And there's also just a sense of abundance. So the past few months, I think I did this in your monthly reading where it came up where like you guys are kind of one of the few signs that I think coming out of the crazy summer of eclipses and retrogrades, like has a new sense of love and passion and you know, like dreams coming true with the Page of Cups, like everything you've wanted for a long time. And now it's almost like when I say arrogance, it's like this person is holding up the cup with this sense of almost entitlement, right? And it's not like entitlement, like it's like they deserve it, right? Because they just know, because they're part of the universe, they're a person who loves and wants to be loved. And now it's like you can almost, you've been able to like have this sense of just expectation that things are going to go well because you put the effort into it, right? Because you've been through the ups and downs, you've worked through it, you've grown, you've developed, you've gotten in touch with your passions, and now you're ready to like just accept the abundance of the universe and just bask in all the good things that are going to be coming your way. But starting off the season, I think that there is a sense of who am I? There's a sense of what comes next. There's a sense of wanting to be connected to something bigger, right? So that could be spirituality, that could be a community, but I think it's also like it could be family, right? Anything that takes you outside of your limited perspective and makes you feel strong, makes you feel plugged in. I think that Leo is going to be starting this fall in Libra season, really doing a little bit of soul searching, right? Really like trying to understand better like everything that's transpired, and it's almost like this assimilation of lessons that maybe this love has brought into your life, right? Like having this person, or if you have new love, like or just a new sense of optimism about your dreams, like now it's kind of making you reconsider things and consider like okay, like now what? Now what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning that I want to instill my life with, right? What is the purpose that I want to instill my life with? What is out there for me? Like what comes next? And it feels like a little bit of like uncertainty, but not in a way that I think is shaking your foundation, right? In a way that's just like, what's bigger and better. Yeah, and then you see here, Page of Wands going forward. So I think that this period of reflection or whatever is going to be like short-lived, right? It's not going to be something that is daunting or holds you back. With the Page of Wands, you're moving into this place of ambition. You're moving into this place of really wanting to make things happen. I think going into Scorpio season in the late October into November, you're going to be really feeling like the new moves. I feel like if there's changes happening for you right now, you're going to start to see those things solidify in the next few months. You're going to start to see, you know, a new ambition about like what you want life to be, and like almost being very willing. I feel like with this Page of Wands, of being willing to fight for it, of wanting to fight for it, of wanting to fight to protect the good things that have come into your life, of wanting to take the good things that have come into your life and push it to the next level, and really, you know, make the most of what's happened, right? Make the most of the lessons that you've learned, and make the most of, you know, what life has dealt you. Because I feel like you've taken the lessons life has dealt you in stride and with pride and with dignity, but now it's bringing you to a new place of strength, of feeling supported, of having love and people around you that make you feel good and strong. But Leo, be careful about anger, right? Five of Cups, I feel like with these two cards together, towards the end of into Sag season, when that fiery energy comes back, there's a potential here for a little bit of depression. There's a potential here for anger. You know, this might be as a result of all this change, that what happens is that now you're in a place where you're reflecting on what's been lost, and you're reflecting on simultaneously this optimism in the sense of like of all the good things that have happened, but maybe in a way where it's bringing into light, you know, how much change. It's almost as if like your change has outmatched your ability to process it, right? And so now I think the end of the fall finds you processing your feelings in a new way, processing the old life that you've had, right? The skin that you've shed, the old relationships, the old identities, the old, you know. And it's almost as if like you've gotten used to carrying around this like emotional weight, and now it's like at the place where it's going away, but now it's almost like you're clinging to it in a way because it's going away. You're clinging to the memories. Like it's like if you're moving on from an old relationship and now you're getting over it, right? But now that almost brings up this panic, this almost fear of like, oh, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose the connection, that anger, that pain was one of the things that about that person that was still sitting with me, right? That was still reminding me of what we had, and now it's almost like moving away from that is bringing a little bit of sadness, right? Because it's almost like you're realizing that this old chapter of your life is past, and then we're ending the I keep wanting to say summer, the autumn, with the Eight of Wands, with fast moving change, with it's almost like you guys don't stay in any one mood for long, right? It's like you sulked about it, you maybe felt a little sad, but now you're ready for what comes next. The Eight of Wands is about a movement, it's about transition, it's about things happening super fast. So I think that, you know, if you were getting into a new relationship, you can see those going to the next level really quickly. Right? Like underneath it all is what I was saying about Leo, is like you guys are basking in the happiness, and you're basking in the success that you felt, you're basking in the growth, right? With the full moon. But the Eight of Wands, I do think that there's in the holiday season there's going to be a lot of obviously festivities and stuff like that, but I think that you might be maybe making connections with people you haven't talked to in a while, right? You might be I feel like a lot of phone conversations with you guys. I feel like a lot of reaching out to distant family or friends, or like I feel like a reaching out and bringing in, right? So connection with people, right? But Leo, I think that again, that Five of Cups, if anything, is mourning an old way of being in a way that is positive, right? And you should let yourself feel the feelings, but obviously you guys aren't going to get stuck there too long, right? All right, so let's go ahead and shuffle for Virgo. You're the last sign that I'm doing here because I started with Libra, and we went around the zodiac, and now it's time to see what we have in store for Virgo this fall. And these cards don't want to shuffle. I don't know if you guys are real resistant right now to hearing anything. I don't know, maybe if you're a little nervous. Are you a little nervous, Libra? I mean, Virgo, about what's to come? Let's see, what's Virgo got in store for them this autumn. All right, so coming into the fall with this sense of newness, right? With this sense of passion and vigor and new opportunities being presented to you. With the Ace of Wands, I think that you guys are feeling a little fired up, right? Like we're just coming out of your season where maybe you felt really strong, really empowered. There's something that tells me that what's coming after this though isn't going to feel too powerful or like it's like you had this high, and now I'm almost concerned that like what comes next is going to be a little bit of a sense of a low, or at least like insecurity about what's to come next, because it's like things were so good, things were so passionate, things were so like on fire for you guys, that now it's like what comes next. Okay, good, but still the sun, so that's good, right? So there's a continued sense of progress and success and everything that's been happening over you guys for the past few months that's been good. Really kind of situating itself within yourself, within your life, right? I do think that there's a lot of celebration in Libra season. There's a lot of need to connect to people, and a lot of need to relish in how far you've come, and to just take pride. I think this is what I want to say. With like starting off the summer feeling, I mean the autumn, feeling really proud of yourselves and the work you've been doing and where you've come, and like feeling like a need to rejoice, right? But again, look at the way the sun is kind of looking off in the distance. It's like, it's almost like there's this fear of the high wearing off, right? The sun with that expression is like, okay, we can celebrate and rejoice, but we also have to look towards what's next. We have to like prepare for the future. We have to watch out for the crazy shit that's going to happen. I was waiting for it to come out, and the Seven of Cups finally came out. This is coming up a lot, I think, because we have like strong Neptune and Pisces energy this fall, where there's potential for some people to get lost in daydreams and get lost in escapism and not to have clarity on direction. So I do think with Virgo, what I've been saying from the beginning with you guys is that once this like high wears off, there's almost this feeling of okay, now what? Of where do we go from here? Of what is the direction? We have like all these different directions we're getting pulled in, and I think towards like in Scorpio season, late October into November, we are Virgo might be dealing with a little bit of heaviness of emotions, right? Like I really feel like this is like the calm down after the high, right? And Virgo, I feel like I want to say this to be careful about falling into like anger, like because things might not be as clear as you want them to be. Not that things aren't going the way you want them to, but like you might not have as much clarity. Like you guys are a sign that's very in touch with like being able to analyze and knowing what you want and what you're about, and there might be a little loss there. So just don't get too bogged down by the calm down. Don't start to feel any fear or trepidation, because with the Hermit, your card, right, by the end of this autumn, you might be finding yourself alone. I think that's going to be a case, right? Like a lot of you guys are going to want to be a little isolated, just a little bit on your own, not alone, but to yourself, right? But I think it's because of this that comes before, right? Exactly what I was thinking about when you're sign of clarity. Like this is what the Hermit is. This is why the Hermit represents you guys. He has clarity. He has a sense of analysis, a sense of being able to guide himself, right? So I think that what's going to happen is that towards the end of the fall, you're going to maybe want to pull back, but it's for a sense of getting back in touch with what direction you're going in. And this is making me feel like you're going to go into 2019 maybe with a lot of changes, maybe with a lot of, part of what the autumn time is about is not just reaping what we've sown, like I said in the beginning of the video, but getting rid of the stuff that no longer works and no longer fits. And I think that you guys are doing that work by the end of the fall, and like you're going to go into the new year with a sense of certainty and with the sense of illumination about and clarity about where things are going for you, and you know, being able to stand on your own 2 feet in a new way. So this is kind of what I was getting at too. We're ending the autumn with the Seven of Swords, which concerns me a little bit in terms of first of all, I think this is like you guys being maybe a little duplicitous, right? Maybe not being totally grounded in your truth, and I don't want to say like being fake, but in a way where like maybe you put on airs about like how good things are going because you feel a little insecure and uncertain. I think the danger with the Seven of Swords is tripping yourself up, right? It's a lack of honesty and truth that causes, like, it's almost self-defeating, right? So guys, in the afterglow of this beautiful, like, high intense energy that we have, I do want to say, like, if there's one phrase I could use to sum up this reading, I think it's about standing in your truth. And I think it's about really being okay with the honest truth of not, you can sometimes look at other people and say, like, see very easily, that's anybody, right? But especially Virgo can see very easily what other people need to do or where they're messing up. And I think now it's time for you guys to, by the end of the fall, having to be brutally honest with yourself, having to be honest for the sake of clarity, right? Not for the sake of beating yourself up, but for like the sake of your future and what comes next. And there's an overall arc here of getting connected to your higher self and getting connected to what it is that you want. And starting off the new year, like they always say is like, the tone that you set for the new year is like kind of the tone that carries throughout the year. So if you start the new year on a tone of like of putting on airs or being dishonest with yourself or being untruthful, I think that's going to set you up for failure in the rest of 2019. So just be comfortable, even if it's just with yourself and talking to yourself about what's real and what's honest and who in your life makes sense and who doesn't, even to move forward, right? To keep being introverted and not introverted, introspective is the word I want to use, and reflective, and that's what's going to be able to push you forward here, right? All right, so that's all the readings. We are 2 hours in. I think that there's a lot of overall themes here. I think for a lot of people, there's security needed. There's a sense of stability. There's a sense of balance. There's a sense of kind of transformation and energy being shed and new energy coming into being. And I think that this autumn is going to be really transformative for everybody, and as it should be, because it's very important that we take all the lessons and things that we've learned over the past 2 months and process them, right, and let them move us forward. All right, guys, so again, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share if you like this video. Again, personal readings are available in the comments below. Look out for your October horoscopes, taroscopes coming soon. Whenever you're watching this, like, this can be something you check back with over the summer, I mean, over the course of the autumn. So, just check in, right, and see where things are at, and let me know in the comments and stuff where you're at and what's coming to be, right? All right, guys, I love you so much. I wish you the best fall ever, and I will be talking to you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.